Hello and welcome to the history of spooky places. So today's spooky place is the Skirvin Hotel. So the Skirvin Hotel is the oldest hotel in Oklahoma City, which opened in 1911. The founder, William Balzer Bill Skirvin, was known as a community builder of sorts. Skirvin was originally from Michigan, but in 1889, he acquired land in Oklahoma City during the land rush. And then in 1909, a New York City investor went to Skirvin with an offer for the land. And he stated his intent to build an extravagant hotel there. Skirvin, being the shrewd entrepreneur he is, he told the guy no and then took it upon himself to build the hotel. So with the help of Solomon Lawton, a reputable architect, they built the Skirvin Hotel. When not busy with his oil business in Texas, he was busy greeting guests and talking to businessmen and politicians. And because of this, he became the center of politics in the early days of Oklahoma statehood. The hotel attracted many types of guests, from farmers to politicians. Sometimes even famous bank robbers would stay there. At one point, notorious A.I. Jennings stayed there. Future me here, hello. So I just wanted to say that I meant Al Jennings instead of A.I. Jennings. It was written down as Al Jennings in my notes. No idea why I kept saying A.I. Jennings. So yeah, it's Al Jennings. Now let's get back to it. A.I. Jennings was a successful lawyer in Oklahoma, but then he ended up helping establish the Jennings Gang with his brother, which is a group of outlaws that made several failed attempts at train robberies in 1897. If you're going to stop being a lawyer to be a train robber, at least be successful at it. And then because of the hotel's success and the continued growth of OKC, in 1923, Skirvin went back to the architect Lawton, and by 1926, they spent $650,000, which is about $10,558,000 today, to add a wing of 12 stories, 2 wings with 10 stories each, and to remodel all existing rooms. And then in 1928, Skirvin announced his plans to raise all wings to 14 stories and an extensive remodel of the entire hotel. This was all completed by April 1930. Lots of remodeling. And then when the Great Depression hit Oklahoma, Skirvin, in his typical boldness, announced that he was going to make a 26-story tower. But in 1932, Skirvin's resources crumbled, so he had to pause the project with only 14 floors completed. He was able to continue it in 1934 and was able to open a few of the floors to guests in 1938. But Skirvin would never see the tower fully completed because it was finished in 1970. Sadly, 16 years after he passed away. The tower and the hotel are connected by a tunnel underground. Today, the tunnel is called the Underground and is connected to many different types of buildings. And then in 1944, William Skirvin got killed by a hit-and-run driver. And then in 1945, Skirvin's 3 children sold the hotel and tower to Dan W. James for $3 million, which is about $45 million today. Dang. And then For the next 5 decades, ownership changed frequently among investors and businessmen, and it still continued to entertain important guests such as Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, U.S. Presidents Harry Truman and Dwight Eisenhower, and many more important people. But the hotel's popularity began to steadily decline, which led to the doors being closed in 1988, and they wouldn't be open again until 2007 after a $50 million renovation. Dang. So why do people say the Skirvin Hotel is haunted? Just a little warning, there is mentions of suicide in the next couple of parts. Just a trigger warning. So in 1913, the first general manager, Frederick Schruble, was said to have shot himself, but during the trial there was some evidence leading to his death being a murder. But at the end of the trial, they just left it as a suicide because there wasn't enough evidence. And then during the Prohibition era, the Skirvin Hotel was a popular speakeasy. The 10th floor was reserved for gambling, loose women, and illegal drinks. It is said that during this time, William Skirvin had an affair with a hotel maid. According to legend, she got pregnant, and then to prevent this getting out to the public, Skirvin locked her up in a room on the 10th floor. Even after she gave birth, he still would not let her out. Because she was left in the room for so long, she became severely depressed. She got to a point where she grabbed her baby and threw herself out of the window, still holding the baby. The maid's name is still unknown, but former employees nicknamed her Effie in the 1980s. There is no record of this actually happening, but it is a fairly common known legend. And then the hotel was also supposedly the site of numerous seances and a meeting place for devil worshippers. So yeah. So now on to ghostly encounters, the fun stuff. So a reporter for the Oklahoman, Steve Blackmeyer, said that he does not believe in ghosts, so a skeptic. But he has seen some weird things at the Skirvin. The power box to the hotel was pulled in the early 1990s after the building was virtually abandoned by an out-of-state owner, he wrote. Yet for more than a dozen years, a single light bulb in the lobby chandelier stayed on. Based on our research, it was over the spot where Skirvin would sit in his chair, giving thumbs up or down on which visitors would be allowed a room. Crazy. And then there have been many NBA players reporting something has happened to them in the hotel when they come to play against the OKC Thunder. There's a spooky, sad Effie, and then there's the Effie that wants to get it on to Barry White music, said Steve Blackmeyer. And with the NBA, it tends to be the later. This is the most legendary ghost story in Oklahoma City, if not the entire state. You have even these famous people claiming they've had encounters with a horny Effie. So the Lakers forward Meta Sandiford Artest, formerly known as Ron Artest, claimed he was assaulted by a ghost at the Skirvin in 2016, but then he just jokingly laughed it off, basically. And then in 2010, Ed Curry, a 7-foot, 295-pound center for the New York Knicks, spent most of his Skirvin stay in the room of 5'9", 180-pound teammate Nate Robinson's room for protection. Crazy. And then there have also been many players that refused to stay at the Skirvin Hotel because of these stories. And then people have reported saying, "Help me," in the fog of the mirror after taking a shower. And then a lot of people also claim to hear laughter, a crying baby, and a crying woman. There have also been reports of seeing maid carts move, doors opening and closing, lights flickering, and randomly smelling lavender perfume. Lavender perfume is a sign of Effie being there, it is said to be. So yeah, would you stay at the Skirvin Hotel? Let me know. Also, if you have any other places, like spooky places that you would like me to research and tell you about, let me know. And that's about it that I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.